Shabbat Shalom. We're going to start with Yadid Nefesh on page 636. 636, not 654, just to clarify. Yadid Nefesh Av HaRachaman Meshoch Avdecha El Retzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayav Ishtachaveh El Mol Hadarecha Yerab Lo Yedidutecha Minofetzu Bechotam Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai Turn back to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem, Bochem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Ni Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom. So we come tonight to celebrate Shabbat, but also to celebrate the bar mitzvah of yet another Jaffe in our congregation, the third, the part of the hat trick, I guess, the second in line. As you all know, Jen Jaffe is our educator and the head of our principal of our religious school, and Joel is my source for smoked meat, and probably some of your sources for smoked meat. And it's a pleasure to celebrate with this family and to have yet another simcha. Jen, who has been so instrumental in the education of all of the children in our synagogue, including your own, it is a joy to be able to celebrate with you guys tonight. And so we want to invite the Jaffe family to come and light the Shabbos candles, particularly Fran and Jen and Tova and Mira, to lead us in a reading and then the lighting of the Shabbos candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlikne shel Shabbat.
So as we prepare to continue with Kabbalat Shabbat, we're going to ask Tova and Mira to hand out the bisamim, the sweet spices, as has become our minhag, our custom, because I insisted that it become the minhag and the custom. We begin Shabbat with bisamim, the sweet spices that we end Shabbat with on Havdalah, that we can breathe in the sweetness of Shabbat. So breathe in deeply the cloves and to fill that space inside of you with the warmth of Shabbat.
As we do that, we also bring in Shabbat with our prayers, starting with words of Psalms. We'll start with Psalm 95 on page 130, which says, "Let us sing out together joyously." So sing it with me. It goes like this. Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai. Let's try that together. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, ladonai, ladonai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. From the top, one more time. Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, ladonai, yai lai 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 lai, naria, naria, yai lai 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 lai, letzur hishenu, yai lai lai. That's the whole chorus. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechu together. Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai. You got it. Yai lai 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 lai, naria, yai lai 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 lai, letzur hishenu, yai lai 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 lai. For all of the wonder in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Last time. Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, ladonai, yai lai 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 lai, naria, yai lai 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 lai, letzur yishenu, yai lai 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 lai. Page 131, 4 lines from the bottom. Ya'alo sadai, bechol asher bo ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 ya'alo sadai, bechol asher bo ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 az yeranenu kol atzei ya'ad, az yeranenu kol atzei ya'ad, ya'alo sadai, bechol asher bo ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 ya'alo sadai, bechol asher bo ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 ay. Page 134. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekozimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekozimra. Zameru, zamru l'Adonai. Zameru, zamru l'Adonai. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekozimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekozimra. Zameru, zamru l'Adonai. Zameru, zamru l'Adonai. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekozimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekozimra. We'll turn to page 138 for L'chadodi. O L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. O L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. O L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. O L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Verse 3. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי תהי מתוכך, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, באוי החמול עלייך חמלה. O L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. O L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי לאורך קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. O L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. O L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. We'll rise and face the entrance. Verse 9. בואי ושלום, עטרת ועלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. Follow me. בואי חלה, to the right. בואי חלה, O L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. O L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
remain standing. We'll turn to page 263 for Chatzi Kaddish. And as we do, we invite Noah Jaffe, our bar mitzvah, the one-armed bandit, to come on up and to lead the rest of our service.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ואלמד יברח ירותי ונכמל חוטי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב ואימרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי המיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלן שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילא מן כה בחטא ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דם הירן בעלמא ואימרו אמן.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Amvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. We'll join Noah in Ma'ariv Aravim, page 265.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv avrim bechokma poteah sharim uvitvuna meshane itim umchalif et hazmanim umsadir et hakochavim b'mishmerotechem berikia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choseh b'choshech mipnei or umevir yom umevir laila umavdil ben yom umevir laila Adonai Tzavot Shmo El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Vaed Baruch Atah Adonai Hamariv Arvim
Amen.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah mitzvot chukim umishpatim otanu limatata Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורי ימינו ובהם נגד יומן ולילה ואהבת Al terminain leolamim Baruch Atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבב ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשיטתך, בביתך, ובלכתך, בדרך, ובשבתך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי. והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Continue on page 270 with Mi Chamocha.
This is not a melody we often do, but it is a good one and maybe popular in certain camps, I'm told. So if you know it, sing along. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze li'anu ve'amru, ze li'anu ve'amru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar, nar kivad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ge'alo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Save us for the sake. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
Page 272 will join together as we do, giving thanks for Shabbat, this opportunity for rest and for being together in community.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. Yum ba da da da, Shabbat, Shabbat, yum ba da da da, Shabbat, Shabbat, yum ba da da da, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ים ברדאי, שבת שבת, ים ברדאי, שבת שבת, ים ברדאי, שבת שבת, שבת שבת, shalom.
We'll rise together now for the Amidah, beginning on page 273.
Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi agid tehilatecha, ufi agid tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Chonech HaKol, וזכר הזה אבות ואימות, ומביא גאולה בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלא עוזר ומשיח מגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה ולבב הושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופים וחורף עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממיד ומחיה, ומצמיע ישוע, ונאמן אתה לאות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום ילדוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Yasher Koach Noah, great job. Well done. We'll see you a little bit later, but for now we are going to continue on page 279 with Ritzeh.
רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל. ישראל עמך, אל קרוב לכל קורב, פני אל עבדיך וחוננו, שפוך רוחך עלינו, ותחזינה עינינו, בשובך לציון. ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, המחזיר שכינתו לציון, לציון.
Talking before the service started a little bit about how the days keep getting so short, and right now I have this feeling, and that it gets to be about 5 o'clock and I'm ready for bed. It's like, what's going on? But I think there's something about these like flows in the season that make us really appreciate the nature around us, but also just the flow of time. I think there's things that we do differently when we're in these kind of nearing winter months where we just want to get cozy and we want to be inside, and that's a blessing in and of itself. And sometimes just recognizing that all these different seasons, they bring their own blessings, we can acknowledge that whenever we come together in prayer. It's a good opportunity for acknowledging blessings, but really I think the significant thing is to acknowledge, when something is new and different, that we kind of stop and observe, and rather than maybe kvetch about it, that we can take an opportunity to look for that silver lining, that blessing. So let's join together in these words of gratitude on page 280, 4 lines from the bottom, Ve'al nisecha.
ועל ניסך שבכל יום, ערב ובוקר וצהריים, מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך.
A prayer for shalom, for wholeness and peace in our world is on page 282.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
Take a few moments for our own individual silent prayer.
והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי וגואלי, וגואלי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. יהיו לרצון, try it with me. יהיו לרצון נמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Repeat after me. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. יהיו לרצון נמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי וגואלי.
I'd like you to turn to page 371. In a moment, we'll share the names of those whom we are praying for refuah, for healing, this Shabbat, as we hold them in our hearts and our prayers. We extend the circle of community and support that goes with that. In particular, the Shabbat, we're thinking of Lynn Levitt, Noah Jaffe, we hope your arm heals, and Sarah Kleiner, we hope your leg heals. Something's happening in grade 8. Ruth McPhee, Pearl Feldman, Rosa Tesler-Mabe, Kathleen Rudolph, Shoshana Bat-Dina, Libby Gozer, Suzanne Kadar, Lyle Bross, Dan Pekarski, Pauline Babbins, Ron Stewart, Benny Avidan, Sandy Merwitzer, Raphael Ben-Sara, Chana Bat-Meir Avraham Vishero, Vince Antonio, Claire Columbia, David Shlomo Gorney, Carla Zivit, and Janet Gelb. I invite you, if there are other people in your prayers tonight you'd like to include in this Misha Berach, if you would stand and share their names.
שברח אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imoteinu mekor habracha lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Mazel tov again, Noah, on your bar mitzvah and to your whole family. We're excited to celebrate tomorrow with you. Just to draw your attention to the announcements on the handout, hopefully you had a chance to take a quick look. On Tuesday, we will have our Shalom Shishim monthly Lunch and Learn program, this time with Rabbi Brown, Unpacking Zionism, the Land of Israel in the Late Ottoman and British Mandate Periods. Fascinating. There will be, and Danny's not in the room anymore. We sent 3 members of our congregation, actually 4 technically, to the World Zionist Congress for the World Zionist Congress elections and vote that took place in Israel just a few weeks ago. Cantor Cohen was amongst them, as was Danny Levinson and Yael Schechter, and they're going to lead a Zoom webinar about their experiences and share with you what took place during that. That's going to be on Wednesday at 7:30. You can sign up for that to register online. Next Friday, the 28th, is our family Shabbat. So there's still an 8 o'clock service, but also 5:30 dinner, followed by a 6 o'clock service here in the sanctuary. So come for that. Ofra's Kitchen is catering. And then on Sunday, November 30th and December 7th is our Hanukkah pop-up shop. If you ask any child, Hanukkah is coming. And so if you'd like to purchase candles or Hanukkiyot or decorations or wrapping paper and those kinds of things, as well as a few other items that members of our Bai Mitzvah class are selling as part of their mitzvah projects. That'll be from 11:15 to 2 during religious school on Sunday mornings. That's the 30th and the 7th of December. There's more going on at the congregation, but I'll leave that for you to take a look at in your handouts. Anything pressing that you need to mention? No? Okay. So this week's Torah portion is Toldot, which Noah and his family are going to chant tomorrow morning. And it begins with one of the most intimate and emotionally complex family narratives in the entire Torah. And that is saying a lot, because there are a lot of complex and emotional family narratives in the book of Genesis alone. It's a story about 2 children, Jacob and Esau, who enter the world already struggling with each other. Parents who love them but fail to understand them, and a reconciliation that arrives only after decades of distance and pain. That's not in this parsha, but it's coming. Spoiler alert. At the beginning of the parsha, there is a small line that carries an enormous lesson. V'yagidlu hana'arim, when the boys grew up. The Torah says almost nothing about that time before that, about the moment before that moment that Jacob and Esau, except that they struggled together even in their mother's womb, and that one was red and hairy, and that Jacob was grasping at his heel, hence the name Yaakov. Nothing is mentioned about their early years. Nothing is said about how they were raised, about their character, their desires. And so when there is a void, the rabbis fill that with midrash. And so from this, the rabbis conclude that these 2 fraternal twins were raised by their parents, Isaac and Rebekah, were raised almost without any, if perhaps no, differentiation between them. They're raised exactly the same. The Midrash Jewish folklore asserts that later conflict between the brothers all stems from Isaac and Rebekah's failure to understand and to nurture each child's unique character. The Midrash says, they did not train each child according to his own nature, which led to hatred between them. And then Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, a 19th century Torah commentator, is even more explicit in blaming the parents for all the troubles between these 2 boys. He says, the striking contrast in the grandsons of Abraham may have been due not so much to a difference in their temperaments as to a mistake in their upbringing. Both were given the same instruction and care. No attention was paid to their differences. Hirsch concludes that Isaac and Rebekah gave the boys only one educational style, failing to match the unique emotional, spiritual, and psychological needs of each of their children. The parents assumed that fairness meant sameness, and they did not notice early enough that each child needed something different from them. Proverbs teaches, raise a child according to their own path. And the Torah is reminding us that children grow best when they are understood as individuals, with their own personalities, their own challenges, and their own gifts. So beneath the surface of all of this lies a single spiritual thread that I think can guide us in our lives as parents, as teachers, and simply as human beings, which, as we've learned, is not so simple. And that thread is empathy. Empathy in Judaism asks us to notice what is happening inside another person without being swallowed up by their feelings. It asks us to recognize their individuality without trying to reshape them into our own image. And this is one of the most difficult spiritual practices in all of life, particularly in Jewish life. But it's also the foundation of all healthy relationships. The first half of Toldot of this parsha gives us a painful example of empathy gone missing. As I mentioned, the Torah tells us that even before birth, Jacob and Esau struggled with their mother, or within their mother, I should say. Rebekah senses that something unusual is happening inside of her, and she seeks out God. And she receives a prophecy. She hears God's voice that her children will be very different and that the older will serve the younger. Yet once the boys are born, the text offers no evidence that either parent pays any attention to the striking individuality of their sons. The voice from the heavens tells her that they will be different, and the parents raise them as though they were exactly the same. Now, Esau grows up to be a hunter, guided by instinct, intuition, and his physicality. He's a person of action and of appetite. And Jacob grows into a quiet thinker, someone drawn to a more reflective life inside the tent. These differences, they're not subtle differences. They are woven into the very nature of these two young men. And yet the Torah tells us something troubling. It goes on to tell us that Isaac loved Esau because he enjoyed eating the game that Esau would bring him. That love is the root of Isaac's appetite, not of Esau's essence. And the Rebekah gravitated towards Jacob, whose temperament mirrors her own. Their paternal connections reflect their own preferences, where they see themselves in their children rather than their child's needs. In a home where two boys require two different forms of care, attention, and guidance, neither receives it. A recipe for disaster. This is one of the earliest examples in our tradition of that one-style-fits-all parenting, which, if you've ever parented, you know, does not work. It is presented to us not as a model to follow, but as a cautionary tale. A parent who does not recognize a child's inner world cannot guide them in this world. A teacher who assumes all students learn the same way will lose the attention of those whose learning flows differently. And a leader who ignores the complexity of human diversity will fail the people that they serve. This is the Torah's earliest lesson in empathy. Empathy is not pity. Empathy is not indulgence. Empathy is the determined effort to understand another person's reality. It is seeing the child standing in front of us rather than the child that we might have imagined. Without that, Jacob and Esau become strangers, and their estrangement grows into deceit, and then resentment, and then a family fracture that lasts 20 years. The Torah does not tell us this story to shame Isaac and Rebekah. It tells us the story because they are us. Isaac and Rebekah are every parent that struggles with this, every human being, because every parent knows what it is like to misread a child. And every teacher has met a student whose nature does not match their expectations. And every family knows that pain can grow when understanding is thin. The power of this story is that it does not end in tragedy. It ends in reconciliation and hope. When Jacob returns home many years later, something inside him has changed. He has been wounded and humbled by life. He has wrestled with angels through the night with a mysterious stranger, and he has learned that blessings are not possessions, but responsibilities. And Esau has changed too. The text gives us no insight into his inner world, but his actions, they speak clearly. He runs towards Jacob in that moment of reconciliation. He embraces him, he falls on his neck, and he kisses him, his brother. And these gestures reveal a man who has released those earlier resentments from childhood, a man who was hard and has softened. Jacob responds with words that have echoed throughout Jewish history. He says to his brother, in that moment of reconciliation, a moment imbued with fear that it's going to become violent, he says to his brother, "Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God." It's a profound moment of empathy. Jacob looks at the brother that he once feared, and he sees instead something holy in him. He sees Esau not as a rival, not as a threat, but as a person who has carried his own burdens, who has grown in his own way and has suffered in his own silence. And this reunion is not only the resolution of a family conflict, it is a master class in empathy restored. Two men, they were boys, and now they're men, shaped by their own stories. They learn to see each other again, or maybe for the first time. They reclaim a relationship that was broken by a lack of understanding in childhood by their very own parents. Toldot invites us to learn from both halves of the story. The empathy that was missing in the beginning leads to pain, but the empathy that reappears in the end leads to healing. Loving someone requires seeing them. Guiding someone requires understanding them. And parenting and teaching asks us to walk a delicate line between support and challenge, between listening and leading. Judaism holds this balance as a sacred practice. Jewish education is rooted in this kind of balanced empathy. The Talmud teaches that a parent must teach a child Torah, a trade, and how to swim. Because swimming is more than a physical act. It symbolizes the capacity to face deep and rough waters and to trust one's own strength. Children develop that confidence not through pressure, but through presence. Through adults who recognize them as individuals and give them what they need to thrive. Jewish education is always aimed for more than academic knowledge. It asks, who is this child becoming? What spiritual muscles need to be developed? How can we help them understand themselves and respond to the world with compassion and clarity? That is the goal of a moral education. That is the goal of Jewish education. And that is why Jewish learning matters at every age. It shapes identity, it shapes values, it shapes purpose and vision. It teaches us that the world cries out for people who can notice brokenness and take responsibility for repair. It teaches empathy that is grounded and strong. This kind of educational vision requires steady leadership. And so tonight, as we celebrate Noah's bar mitzvah, I also want to acknowledge the work of his mom, Jen Jaffe. Noah's mom, but our educator and school principal. Jen guides our school with thoughtfulness and integrity. She helps create an environment where each child is known, where differences are welcomed, where learning is rooted in curiosity, and where teachers approach their students with empathy that is balanced and wise. She works closely with families, she strengthens our faculty, and she helps our children experience Judaism as something that they can walk with throughout their lives. And while doing this, she is also completing her master's degree in Jewish education at HUC. Where do you find the time? Because he's traveling a lot. But this pursuit for Jen is not academic alone. It enriches our community. We benefit from it. And deepens the quality of learning for all of our children that they receive from her and her teachers. So tonight's a good moment to recognize that devotion and express to you, Jen, and you, Joel, our gratitude. And tonight we celebrate Noah, who brings thoughtfulness and openness and sincerity to his learning and his skating. He approaches ideas with curiosity and has taken his preparation seriously. The empathy that he shows towards others reflects the environment and family in which he has been raised. Loving parents, Jen and Joel, who act with tireless intention toward all of their children, and all the teachers who have guided Noah and many others. Noah's Torah portion reminds him that relationships require work and patience and honesty and the courage to see others as they are. And Jen and Joel have modeled that for their children and for all of our children here at Temple Sholom. And for that, on this Shabbat of gratitude and blessing, we are deeply blessed and tremendously grateful for this family and the wisdom of our tradition. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to turn to page 586. We'll rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. A reading before Kaddish Tome, before the Mourner's Kaddish, page 596. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear. But if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said that in his affliction he learned the law of God. And in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to counsel and console and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. And thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as, in their higher moments, they themselves wish to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing. On this Shabbat, we recall those who died during this past week or these past 30 days, whose families are in the midst of Shabbat and Shloshim. As I read the name of your loved one, if you could please rise and remain standing. Valerie Asmucha, Desmond Berghofer, Gregory Carter, Joanne Helton, Sharon Kahn, Milton Lackman, Miriam Bat-Khana. And those for whom the Yortzeit, the anniversary of the death of your loved one, is on this Shabbat, if you two could rise as I read their name. Shelley Superstein Alexander, Rosalie Bakalinsky, Selma Bregman, Rivka Breezer, Joseph Brook, Nathan Buller, Karen Chapnick, Mira Chochinov, Roberta Chochinov, Jules Coheen, Ceci Diane, Hal Dornan, Harold Fall, Lori Feldman, Lila Helen Flanders, Priscilla Fratkin, Larry Freeman, Bella Garfinkel, Joseph Gelfand, Sonia Gavatamacher, Solomon Groisberg, James Allen Hamilton, John Henry, Debbie Herlin, Elizabeth Horowitz, Deborah Carby, Alan Karlinski, Honey King, Esafir Korodoskaya, Yochanan Krieger, Jean Lichtenstein, Nathan Lipson, Ernie Letterman, Alan Mandel, Israel Marcus, Eric Mayer, Reva McWilliam, Samuel Mednick, Shlomo Nachmani, Richard Plotkin, Samuel Pudovic, Victor Resnikoff, Howard Horst Robins, Pauline Rosenfeld, Nini Rostiker Shipman, Richard Hyman Ruskin, Sybil Schwenk, Ephraim Smith, Frida Sobel, Leona Steinman, Fagel Unterman, Max Vernon, Henry Wong, Naomi Zara, Miriam Zbarsky, Saul Zugman. If there are names that I have missed or mispronounced, if you've come to say Kaddish for any other reason, if you could stand and call those names out one by one. We'll turn to page 598 and we'll rise to stand beside those who have stood in mourning so they don't stand alone, inviting those who wish to join with the mourners in Kadisha Tom. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yomad divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala ubizman kariv v'yimaru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yit adar v'yit aleh v'yit alal shemei d'kudisha b'richu. E'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, dameron be'alma v'yimaru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen. Osei shalom yirmomav, huya asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimaru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort the bereaved among us, and we say together, Amen. We're going to invite Noah to join Cantor Cohen over at the Amud over there to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi, and then our closing song. And we want to thank Joel and Jen for sponsoring our Oneg Shabbat tonight in honor of their son.
But you gotta hold this. You gotta hold this with one of your hands.
I can't.
Okay. You can put it down right there. How's that? Is that okay? You hold this in? Is that okay?
Vahi erev vahi voker yom hashishi, vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzeva'am, vaychol Elohim bayom hashve'i melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashve'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayiferech Elohim et yom hashve'i, vayikedesh oto kivo shavot mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'hava v'ratzon hinhalanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki yom techila li mikra'e kodesh, zecher litziot mitzrayim, ki
Banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidasha, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu.
Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Okay, now we're going to uncover the challah. Ready? Pull this on. I'll do that.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Good job. We'll end with Adon Olam, page 625. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol, Yetzir Nivra Le'nasa, Rechefzo kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Imloch Nora Adon Olam, Vehu Haya, Vehu Hove, Vehu Yebedivara Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol, Yetzir Nivra Le'nasa, V'chefzo kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.